Mastering the basics of bartending isn't easy, but once we've done that, what's next?
In order to be a great bartender, there are a few extra skills that we think are very important to learn.
Some of those skills are peeling, muddling, swizzling, rolling, and throwing. Peeling is something that everyone feels they know how to do properly, but there is a technique to doing it safely and correctly.
Sloppy peeling can lead to some pretty horrific accidents.
The proper way to peel citrus is by grabbing the fruit in one hand, placing your thumb near the top or north pole of the fruit, using your peeler thumb as support, and pulling firmly from north pole to south pole.
Now, make sure to keep the pinky on your fruit hand away from the blade to avoid any mishaps.
Your peel should be thick and consistent the whole way through with not too much pith on the back.
If you want to be extra fancy about it, trim the edges for a more manicured look.
When you're ready to express the citrus oils on your drink, pinch the peel between your thumb and index fingers with both hands and squeeze the peel above the glass at an angle.
A super fresh peel will produce a gentle spritz over the top of the drink and create a really nice aroma.
Muddling is another skill that seems pretty easy to grasp, but also has some tricky points.
Muddling is not a one-size-fits-all proposition. You have to consider exactly what you're muddling before attacking it in the glass or shaker.
If you're muddling herbs, you're going to want to gently press them against the bottom of the glass or tin. Too much pressure can extract some bitter flavors from the leaves and stems.
If you're muddling soft fruit like berries, you can get in there a little bit more, but no need to pulverize it into a paste.
Finally, if you're muddling citrus for something like a caipirinha, it's okay to give a little elbow grease, especially if you're trying to grind some of the sugar into the peel of the fruit.
Remember, when you're muddling, grab the muddler like you would grab a stick, because it's a stick. But grab it in a way so that you can place your thumb on top for more control.
Muddlers are all built a little differently, but the business end of a muddler is the flat side. That's the one that goes into the glass or tin.
Swizzling is one of the more entertaining ways to mix a drink. It's designed for drinks that are made with crushed ice and usually with an herb. Swizzling allows you to get drinks extra cold.
In order to swizzle, we recommend using a swizzle stick, which comes from the bois lillet tree in Martinique. This is the best tool, but if you don't have one of those, a long-handled bar spoon can work in its place.
In order to swizzle, build your drink in a tall glass and fill up 2/3 with crushed ice. Insert the stick twiggy side down, and then spin the stick between your hands like you're trying to make a fire. You don't have to go too fast, just enough to mix it nicely.
Use the stick to push herbs back down to the bottom of the glass. If you're doing it right, the outside of the glass should have a really nice frost on it. Finally, top up the rest of the way with crushed ice or build a cap if you're so inclined.
Rolling drinks is most commonly employed for Bloody Marys, but can also be used for any cocktail that needs mixing, but you don't want to aerate too much.
It's slightly more intense than stirring, but way less vigorous than shaking.
Rolling is pretty simple. You fill up your tins with ice and ingredients the same way you would for a shaken cocktail. Then instead of shaking, you roll.
You roll the tins end over end at a reasonably slow pace. Again, you don't want to agitate the ingredients too much, you just want to mix them.
When you're done, you can strain over fresh ice to finish the drink.
The last skill we're going to discuss is throwing, and it's probably the most advanced. It's more like pouring impressively than actually throwing, but some people make it an art form.
There are a lot of opinions on what vessels are the best for throwing, but start with 2 small tins and a julep strainer to practice. Then, experiment with different glasses, tins, and strainers, and find out what works best for you.
To throw a cocktail, fill up a small tin with ice and your cocktail ingredients. This cocktail will likely be something that is typically stirred, but has some aromatic qualities that can be released, like a Negroni.
Once you have your ingredients and ice in one of the tins, hold it at about eye level with the julep strainer holding back the ice, and hold the empty tin next to it. Pour slowly from the full tin into the empty tin and simultaneously lower the tin being filled.
This will get easier with practice, and you'll be able to start from further up with both tins, and you'll also be able to bring the filling tin further down for a more impressive looking pour.
After about 5 good throws, you can pour the contents of the tin into a chilled cocktail glass.
We just want to reiterate that this technique takes time to get right, so don't get discouraged and make sure you practice with water first before moving on to an actual cocktail.
Congratulations! Now you know the better way to add some skills to your arsenal.
These can be tough to master, but we're confident that with practice and repetition, you'll get there.
Until next time, keep getting better.